Yeah, Qualcomm explaining their naming scheme and why
So,
every other
ba-
chip brand should do that.
so basically, as of now, the whole chip naming scheme has gone haywire. I mean, I don't know when it was proper, but it was at least better before. Now it's a whole mess, and thankfully, Snapdragon in their India event on the 31st of July make it simple, but no, it isn't. So basically, they classify it into four things. In the Indian, you have a 8 series for the premium flagship, the top tier phones. Then comes the 7 series for the high tier devices, which could be the premium mid range sort of a category. The 6 series are for the mid range devices, and the 4 series are for the entry level devices. Then the uh, maybe the suffixes to that. The plus is the best in the tier devices. Base or without any suffix is the balance of performance and price, and S is essential features. So maybe the 8S Gen 3 has all the essential features of the 8 Gen 3, and it'll be slightly lower in performance than the 8 Gen 3. And if an 8 plus Gen 3 exists, it'll be the best of the best in terms of performance. It's supposed to be that easy as Qualcomm explains, but that's not reality. I mean, if you compare like the 8S Gen 3 to a 7 plus Gen 2, in most cases, the 7 plus Gen 2 is almost neck to the 8S Gen 3. And even Qualcomm and MediaTek are kind of pressurized to launch new chips every time so that the brands can make a headline, the first phone in India with this chip, sort of a thing. If you go to the MediaTek space, you'll be blown away. I mean, the number of rebrand, which they've done with all their chipsets in the mid range at least. I mean, their flagship chipsets nobody uses anyways. No offense, but Qualcomm just takes the cake in terms of the high end performances with their 8 Gen 3 and things like that. I mean, which phone comes with the Dimensity 9300 or the 9200? I mean, apart from some Vivo phones, no one even uses them. So MediaTek has to play in the mid-range category, and in the mid-range category, every brand wants to make a huge claim. Oh, this is the first phone with this chip. Even if you see nothing, their claim was this is the first phone in India with MediaTek Dimensity 7350 chipset with the phone 2A plus. So every brand wants that, and I'm not complaining, but at least simplify it. I mean, the like I said that time when I was talking earlier, the Dimensity 1080, which is launched 2 or 3 years back, they rebranded it to the 6200. The 6200 is rebranded to the 6350. It it just makes no sense. You're just recycling the 3-year-old chip over and over again. Where's your innovation? I mean, I understand you're innovating the flagship, but the mid-range needs innovation too, and you can't just increase the clock speed by zero point 0.1 gigahertz and call it a new chipset. I mean, it's not just the smartphone manufacturers. You go to AMD. Linus Tech Tips made like a whole video on the AMD's naming scheme and how frustrated he was. Before the AMD naming scheme was at least understandable, their first letter was to be the year in which it was launched, and then so on with the generation and things like that. So, but then now in their new naming scheme, they've changed that altogether. The first letter no longer means the year of launch. So, how is any sane person who's looking for a new device, be it a laptop or a smartphone, understand which chipset is better or not? Like I just explained, if someone is looking for a phone which one has the Snapdragon 8s Gen 3 and the other has the Snapdragon 7 Plus Gen 2, and he's getting both of them at the same price, or the 8s Gen 3 slightly more expensive, it would be better that he goes with the 7 Plus Gen 2 because it may give him more performance than the 8s Gen 3 in many cases on many benchmarks. So the whole naming scheme has been destroyed by all these companies and brands who want new chipsets for their new phones. So I think that was our rant. But anyways, that was
This
the
is,
topic
yeah, like
overall.
you had said, this is not just the case with the phone. Like you had pointed at AMD also, and then the worst part is even Intel changed their naming scheme like recently with the Core 7 Ultra, and
Yeah,
like
that's another.
they had a thing going on before, and then they decided to change it, and then there's that whole thing with the latest Intel desktop processors having a lot of
Yeah,
issues. The laptop ones are better, but the desktop processors, there's a lot of issues, and people are like Gamers Nexus and all held back from recommending Intel products till these issues are resolved. So overall, it's not a good look for the entirety of the tech industry with such shady practices like weird naming schemes just to deceive customers when in actual, like in all reality, they're not doing any new thing. Like then just leave it. It's
Another
fine. Like
Another example is the Snapdragon 695 chip. Remember in 2021, the chip was launched and it was like super popular. Every brand just launched multiple phones with that chip. And if to surprise, Motorola G84 or one of their latest phones, which were launched in 2024, still comes with the Snapdragon 695. Leave that, the OnePlus Nord CE4 Lite has been using the Snapdragon 695 chip for 3 years straight. The OnePlus Nord CE2 Lite had the same chip. CE3 Lite had the same chip. Even the CE4 Lite has the same chip. Leave that um, if people are saying that, oh, why are you using the same chip? Qualcomm has launched a new chip called the 4 Gen 2 or something like that, which is the exact same chip as the Snapdragon 695. So brands can use this chip now and they can say it's a new chip, where in reality is this the 695 over again. And the 695 had a lot of problems. It didn't support HDR on YouTube. It didn't support 4K video playback. You couldn't record 4K videos with the rear camera also. And people are forced to buy these chipsets on mid-range phones because you have no other option. Thanks for watching the clip till the end. If you want to watch more clips from the main podcast, then don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you want to listen to the entire episode, then you can go check it out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Google Podcasts, whichever app you use. The link will be in the description below. And YouTube thinks this video right here will be the best one for you to watch next. So click here and I'll meet you there.